We are here with Parkersburg South head coach Mike Eddy. Coach, thanks for sitting down with us. Appreciate your time.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Heading into week 4, you're coming off a tough loss last week to Morgantown in overtime. Can you give us some reflections on that game and what we learned from it?
Well, I think you learn that you're never as good as you think you are, but you're never as bad either. We left that game knowing that we left everything we had on the field as far as effort goes. We went back, though, and took a look at game film, and there was a lot of technique things that we didn't necessarily execute so well. And I think a lot of that comes into just trying so hard to make a play that you get out of position. Maybe you get a little bit too far across the line of scrimmage. You don't squeeze enough. Maybe your head's in the wrong place on a blocking assignment because you're just trying so hard. We got all the effort we needed. I think moving forward, our adjustment is how do we marry those two things together? How do you put that maximum effort into every play, but also still be sound in your technique and make sure you're where you're supposed to be?
This week you're heading over to Warren to face the Warriors. They are 0-3. You certainly could be 3-0. How do you prepare for a game like that? How do you keep your head in the game with practice, keep the kids energized and focused? And what are you looking for to get out of this game tonight?
Well, I think one of the things that we do really well, and this is something that we do every year, just about any time somebody asks, how do you prepare for this opponent or that opponent, I always say that we worry more about ourselves, and that's always, to me, I think it's the best approach. We all week we focus on the things we need to get better at, the things that we need to do. Focus on the things that we do well and don't do well, and try to stay true to those things, and not worry so much about what your opponent's going to do. Because at the end of the day, those things are out of your control. We can't control how big they are, how strong they are, how fast they are, or what plays they're going to call. The best thing we can do is prepare for the things that they do like to do, what their strengths are, and then the rest of that is just more focus on us and get better at the things that we need to improve on.
That being said, how are the men looking this week as far as injuries go? I know Hunter went out last week with a shoulder injury. How are we looking health-wise?
I think a lot of those are going to be game time decisions tonight. We've got probably 5 starters out. And how far they're out is kind of up in the air. A lot of it's going to be, or at least several of those guys are going to be play to tolerance. Because there's some shoulder injuries. They're really the only cure is rest, and you don't get to rest during football season. So those guys will play as much as they can tolerate the play. Fortunately for us, we have some tough kids, but one of the things you never want to do, is go out there and play and risk further injury. So, the trainers keeping a close eye on those guys, making sure that, those bumps and bruises they have don't turn into injuries. There's a difference between being hurt and being injured. Right now they're hurt. What we don't want is for them to become injured because this is still a long season ahead of us. So we're going to play them, as much as they can play, as long as it's safe for them. And then just kind of go from there. We've been shuffling the last couple of weeks, and guys have done a great job of when it's their opportunity to step in and fill a new role, and embrace it while it's yours and do the best that you can for the guy beside of you.
Well, thanks, Coach. Good luck tonight.
All right, thank you.
We'll see you on the field.